I request Professor K. Rama Mohan Rao, Vice Chairman, Andhra Pradesh State Council of Higher Education, to share his perspective on how to leverage newest technologies for creating future-ready education ecosystem in India. Your thoughts on that, Professor Rama Mohan Rao?
Thank you, Savik. My respects to Colonel B. Venkat, Director AICTE, and Dallas Krishnan from Coursera. Very happy to join this program. Mr. Venkat rightly pointed out that many initiatives are there from the Government of India to leverage technologies into the higher education system and education system per se, to see that the students of the country are ready for the future. So if you look at the Indian education system at large, see, the education is an integral part of the society, and so we have moved from various levels of the learning processes, right from self-learning to informal, societal, the schooling, formal schooling, curriculum, and schools, convents, like so many changes the education has incorporated in itself, and always responsive to the changes in the environment, the societal needs and the industrial needs. Similarly, the education system tried to absorb the technologies emerging in different ages. Say it has made use of radio, television, the computers, and now internet, and all software technologies that are emerging. So what I wanted to convey is that the education system in the country is not rigid. It is dynamic. It is absorbing so many technologies, whatever that is required to the age and to prepare the students for the future. So now the situation is that we have entered into a fourth industrial revolution era, and which is focusing on digitalization of all the sectors of the country, include the sectors of the world, including education. So Education 4.0, and rightly supported by the National Education Policy 2020, and which opened up so many areas and recommended so many changes in the system to make the system ready for the future. And one very important aspect of the NEP is that it wanted the entire education system stick to the core values and roots of the Indian culture. So without disturbing the societal and cultural values of the system, and focusing on making a holistic personality of a student, developing a responsible citizenship in a student, besides making him capable of facing challenges of whatever that emerge in future. So it has promoted a multidisciplinary learning, and also the technology interventions, and most importantly, the addressing the specific needs of the student. So without disturbing the existing infrastructure, the existing system, it wanted many new areas to get into, particularly leveraging technologies. And we must definitely appreciate AICTE and UGC. For the last 2 decades, they have been emphasizing on adoption of technologies and integrating technology in the teaching learning process. That is happening. So now that COVID scenario emerged and technology became a rescue for the system, we landed in a deep trouble with the existing system. And this gave a way out to roll the system without disturbing the academic years. And that is where we have realized that technology has a lot of importance in higher education system, whether it is schooling or higher education. But to my understanding, and after going through several reports and all that, what we could see is that, say, we have taken the technology to tide out the situation as a crisis management, rather than inviting it into our system and making it integrated into it. So we cannot say at this point, because pandemic is still going on. So we have seen pre-pandemic situation, and now we have not entered into post-pandemic situation. We are in the pandemic situation, and we don't know what happens after we come out of the pandemic, whether people get into the conventional system of say teaching learning process by using limited way. So when now the earlier also technology is used, but it is a limited way. Now the one development that took place is that students and teachers got exposed to the technology, started learning the benefits of the technology, and say familiarizing themselves with the operational systems of the technology. So now some new competencies, new inputs the teachers and students got. But the problem is related to the infrastructure. Say, if you look at the information that we got it, only 22% of the total schools in the country got internet access. 37% of the schools are having the working computers. And the majority of the students, we are not talking about students in urban areas and metros. The students in rural areas, they don't have the connectivity. They don't have access. And the rural part of the country, we can claim that the internet is connected, but the access is very, 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 very limited. And they cannot go for the audio lectures, video lectures that are available through different sources. So many startups and corporations have entered into this scene, and they have developed so much of material accessible to the students, but they could not able to use them because of the low bandwidth of the connectivity that we have. So unless there is a huge investment goes with a focused, say, policy directions to build up the digital infrastructure throughout the country, we cannot change the system, integrating it to the technologies into the system. Otherwise, there will be a big divide of that we call as a digital divide, and those who are having the digital access will have a different kind of learning systems. Those who are not having the digital infrastructure, they will be having left with another kind of learning system. So the country like this can't afford unequal, biased learning systems. So nobody in the system, whether teachers or students or parents or policymakers, have rated the impact of technology in education system at a low level. All the stakeholders are expecting and inviting and welcoming the technology into this, and also realized that with this integration of the technology only, you can make the education system comparable to the global standards, acceptable worldwide, and also make the student learn how to learn lifelong. Because the environment is demanding that job profiles are changing. The working of the industry is changing. The structure of the industry is changing. The new job roles are coming out. New technologies are emerging and integrated. New knowledge is developing. And the formal institutional learning ends at the age of 20-25 maximum. And after that, a long career is there. And unless the students know how to acquire knowledge on themselves, how to update their skills, and how to become a continuous learner, exploring various resources of learning, they cannot make a future. So for that matter, we need the system to train the students to learn themselves. That is why, thanks to again AICT and UGC, they have advised all the institutions to introduce blended learning system, integrating conventional learning as well as the self-learning system. And then the student will acquire relevant skills to go for it. But we cannot say that the existing conventional teacher-student interactive person-to-person to interactive system is always considered as a prime system of, say, learning, dissemination of knowledge and education. Because the skills, the 21st century skills that we are talking about, whether it is creative skills, the problem-solving skills, and many other skills, the students can acquire only with the direct interaction with the faculty and with the environment, conditioned environment and positive environment that is created in a institution, educational institution, and the motivation and inspirations they get from the peers. And also the conventional education system gives them relationships beyond family, lifelong relationships, and they will be knowing how to understand the world, and that is most important for them. So we need to invest more on digital infrastructure. We have to train the faculty, teachers to acquire new skills and adopt them in the classroom or teaching learning process. And we should train or educate the society at large, including the students, that personalized learning and satisfying personalized needs, you have a source, a very powerful source, which makes you say develop new competencies that are required to the industry and world. So India is on the way to make, say, road for integrating technologies to make the students of the country ready for facing the future challenges in the world. So thank you very much. It's very nice to take part in this discussion. Nice of you.
Thank you so much, Professor K. Ramamohan Rao, Vice Chairman, Andhra Pradesh State Council of Higher Education, for enlightening us with your wisdom and visionary thoughts. First, it was Colonel V. Venkat, now Professor K. Ramamohan Rao. We cannot have a better start than this in a day, where we get enlightened by the visionary thoughts, and especially for education sector. You talked about the dynamic education system, which is already existing in India. You talked about Industry 4.0 and Education 4.0 and why there is a need for amalgamation of these two sectors together, especially referring to national education policy, which focuses on multidisciplinary learning and as well as technological advancement for the education sector. You talked about blended learning. You talked about the infrastructure is a challenge, and digital infrastructure is a challenge. You talked about that. I remember in the opening day of APEC India Digital Empowerment Meet, when Secretary, Minister of Housing and Urban Affairs, Durga Shankar Mishra was present. In his speech, he said that he was talking to Telecom Secretary just before our event, and he said that he got a data that at present there are more than 107 crore people in India is using mobile phone. Out of that, 75 crore people are using smartphones. Why I'm saying this? Because you talked about the challenges of digital infrastructure, of taking the education to the last mile. The smartphone coupled with 4G and 5G can be a game changer for that. So that's a perspective I'm trying to share with you. Thank you so much, Professor K. Ramamohan Rao, for your thoughts.